Sam Phillips fundamentally engineered the very birth of rock and roll through a highly calculated three-part production system. The physical ground zero for this process was the Memphis Recording Service, located at 706 Union Avenue. During its 16-year run, this independent studio produced 226 singles, generating a new category of commercial music. Phillips operated as a systems engineer of culture rather than a standard record executive. He constructed a highly specific operational machine to manufacture a sound that major labels were failing to capture. That signature sound was the output of a rigorous three-phase production methodology. The equation had three phases: an open-access talent funnel ignoring standard industry sourcing, a recording methodology prioritizing emotional resonance over technical accuracy, and a ruthless constraint filtering out the artist's natural musical inclinations to forge a new commercial category. This established a functional model for independent success, allowing a small Memphis studio to compete nationally. In the 1950s, the standard music industry input model relied on segregated genre charts and professional-only talent sourcing. Phillips countered this with an open format strategy, a concept he adopted while working as a radio engineer at station WLAY in Alabama. Applying this broadcast format to his recording studio, he removed racial barriers to integrate white and black musical traditions. This structure deliberately sourced marginalized talent, a choice inspired by his childhood experience picking cotton alongside black laborers and listening to their songs in the fields. The second aspect of this input variable was access. Phillips allowed amateurs to walk in off the street to record an acetate disc for a small fee. This amateur funnel yielded high variance outputs, capturing the earliest recordings of artists like B.B. King and Howlin Wolf. The physical layout of the Memphis Recording Service dictated how these musical inputs were recorded. Mid-century recording studios prioritized a clinical perfectionism, utilizing strict acoustic reproduction to achieve flawless tracks. Phillips explicitly did not care about technical mistakes, flubbed notes, or missed cues. His singular metric for a successful take was the capture of raw emotional energy, what he called the feel. He defined this feel through the lens of the blues, aiming to capture the human burden and the relief of that burden. Phillips' tolerance for mistakes lowered the psychological barrier for amateur musicians, encouraging them to take creative risks. Those extreme peaks in emotional variance are where Phillips found his successful takes. Sun Studio was configured to trap unpolished human energy onto magnetic tape rather than achieve perfect acoustic reproduction. However, raw energy has little commercial viability if it isn't packaged and directed. The final bottleneck in Phillips' system was strict A&R intervention. A&R, or Artists and Repertoire, is the division of a record label responsible for overseeing the artistic development of recording artists. The ultimate case study for this specific repertoire filter walked into the recording studio in the summer of 1953, an 18-year-old amateur truck driver named Elvis Presley. Presley's natural inclination was to record slow, emotional ballads. Phillips noted that Presley, along with Roy Orbison, had the vocal talent to, quote, tear a ballad to pieces. Yet Phillips instituted an unnatural constraint, vetoing the release of any ballads from these young artists. The strategic logic was to force the artists out of their slow-tempo comfort zones and into upbeat tracks. For Presley, this forced a synthesis of Arthur Crudup's blues song, That's All Right, with a fast-paced version of Bill Monroe's bluegrass track, Blue Moon of Kentucky. This artificial constraint forced these completely disparate regional music genres to violently collide and merge into a single, highly successful commercial product. Without this strict repertoire filter, Elvis likely would have remained a standard pop crooner. The constraint itself engineered a new musical category. On December 4, 1956, this operational methodology underwent its ultimate stress test. An impromptu jam session materialized at the studio, combining 4 distinct artists generated by the Sun system. First up was Carl Perkins, representing the studio's core rockabilly and country output. Next was Jerry Lee Lewis, who provided the high-variance, chaotic piano energy. Sam Phillips then called in Johnny Cash to help complete the session. Along with Presley, this Million Dollar Quartet represented the open-format synthesis of country, gospel, and rhythm and blues. That legendary session was the inevitable result of tracing inputs through an open format, prioritizing feel over mistakes, and applying a strict repertoire filter. Ultimately, Sam Phillips provided the structural environment required to transform raw regional talent into a viable commercial product.